Hey guys, I'm Al Washington, and welcome to my Mystical Loves podcast. I'm here with award-winning author Chris Flemish on his new book called Diablo Canyon. And Chris, do you want to go ahead and say hey to everybody and
Hi,
introduce yourself?
everybody, and Al, thank you for this opportunity, and to all the beautiful and amazing readers out there, thank you for appreciating indie authors and their art and just art in general. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely, thank you. So let me go ahead and get right started with it, Chris. So what started the Diablo Canyon book? What inspired you to write this book?
Right. So I never intended to be a writer, and Diablo Canyon, if you ever get the copy of the book in the back in the afterword, I'll go into very much detail. But um, um, I never used to dream. I like other people have dreams, and my wife would tell me about her dreams, and I was fascinated about it. And I've never had that, not even as a child. I cannot recall ever dreaming. And so when we were living in Los Angeles, we moved to a more natural setting up in the hills north of Los Angeles at a lake, and just sleeping with the windows open and being more in nature. And I know that sounds very cheesy maybe, but all
Right.
of a sudden I started to sleep better. And so one night I had a dream, and it was really weird because it was nothing, and it was just a little boy maybe 8 or 10 years old, and I still see him in front of me and how he was dressed. And next morning I woke up and I told my wife, I said, I had a dream. And she said, what? I said, yeah, what was it? I said, I don't know. It was just a little boy. And she said, oh, that's weird. I said, yeah, I don't know. So it kind of, the dream reoccurred for about a week or two. Same thing. All of a sudden, little boy. And I'm like, this is just weird. And I started Googling what it could mean. And honestly, no clue what it meant.
Right,
And
right.
so then one day, the boy spoke to me, and he just pointed at me, and he said, he wants you to write it. I'm like, what? And then there was a picture of a dead tree. I'm
Oh,
like, what is going on? And so, of course, every time I told my wife this, it was about 3 or 4 weeks that these dreams continued. And then I didn't dream at all again. And still until this day, many, many years later, I don't dream. I don't know why or
right.
what, but that doesn't matter. So as we lived in the canyon at Elizabeth Lake, it's a place just north of Hollywood. It's
Uh-huh.
where they have filmed the series Justified, a
Nice.
lot of the CSI Las Vegas, and most famously on the other side of our lake, on the other side of the hill, the scene from Seven where Brad Pitt has the cardboard box. So that was filmed all there.
Wow.
And what's in the box? And
Very good
just
movie. Very good
love
movie.
love that movie.
Yeah.
And so one day we're driving up and down the canyon. There's only one road in and out of San Francisco Canyon. And I said, stop, stop, stop. And my wife's like, what's going on? And to our right, I point out the window, and there was that dead tree that I had seen in my dreams. And so in the book, in the back, in the afterword, there's a picture of that tree that I took. So that was a tree of my dreams. It was there for many years. So okay, I'm like, this is a sign or something, and I don't really believe in those things too much, but
Right.
I'm like, there's something I need to write about, but I didn't know what. So I started delving more into the folklore from my region. So I found out that the lake that I lived at, Elizabeth Lake, used to be called in the 1500s La Laguna del Diablo,
Okay.
and the Lake of the Devil. And at one point, all the cattle around the lake died, and people just moved away, and they called the lake cursed. And there's a story about a monster living in the lake. And I became really fascinated with all those little stories. And
Right.
I just started to collect stories and talking to people about a bunch of things that have happened with to the Native American tribe, the Tatavian Indians that lived in the canyon, the failure of the Mulholland Dam. And I just started to put all these pieces together. And so that's how I wrote Diablo Canyon. That's how it just all came together.
I like that. Interesting. Okay. I do love the cover of the book. Like I said, with the birds with the graveyard. I do, like I said, love it. It definitely has that to me, gives me like a Edgar Allan Poe type of dark tone with it. So, and you said it just came to you in a dream. That's what I mean, like as writers that you can't explain it. Like, when you're sitting in front of a piece of paper or a notebook and it's like you're trying to get something down, it won't come to you because
Right.
either we're forcing it or we're thinking it or it just doesn't come. But it's amazing that you just said you just had a dream. You didn't think about it. Either you were driving, working out, hanging out, hiking, whatever. So yeah, the process.
It's really weird. It's really weird, but that's how it happened.
That's interesting. No, I like that. And speaking of which, within the book, your main character, Jack Morrison, who's a burnt out novelist.
Yeah.
So in the story, he is the one that uncovers the evil. But was it a challenge writing for him?
Um, there are some parts in the book for him that were challenging, and I didn't want to write just another character. I wanted Jack to be relatable, but
Okay.
also very flawed. And so a few things, of course, you as a writer, you pull from your own experiences in a lot of ways, but I wanted Jack's an asshole. And I hope I can say that on your podcast, but
You're good. No, you're good.
wasn't a good person. I mean, he was a good person with his family. He's pursuing this dream of becoming a writer. And
Right.
then he kind of got lured into that whole, and we see that with a lot of actors and musicians and famous people. They kind of get lured into that machine and they start to change. They're no longer who they were. And then families and friends, and that becomes secondary. And Jack became an asshole. And I wanted to
Right.
make sure that people could relate to that. But if I would make him too bad, then also you start to hate him, which he's not a bad person. The story is all about redemption in a way,
Right.
him finding his way back to what matters most. What matters most is his family. You know,
Right.
the love for his wife, the love for his daughter, finding faith or like getting back to his roots of his core being and just finding that back. And so I think the challenge for me to write Jack was how do I make him believable? Because sometimes
Yeah.
you read the book and you're like, okay, dude, you're trying hard. You're trying so hard. Okay, you've lost me. This is no person is that kind, or no person is that bad, or so how do you make him relatable? And I rewrote Diablo Canyon 9 times. So I
Oh my gosh.
redid the whole story 9 times. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. No, and you said you wanted to breathe life into the character, meaning that did you have ever have a thought where when you were writing him, you were thinking, okay, is this something I would do? Meaning that would you take yourself out of the character's head? Meaning that
Hmm.
since you said you had some not challenging, like certain parts of writing Jack, you didn't want to make him boring. You really wanted to bring out the character out of
Mhm.
him.
Right. I mean, sometimes that was difficult, and I would compare him sometimes to other people that you know how they responded.
Right.
Um, but I really wanted to make him a strong, believable character where
Hmm.
you're kind of rooting for him. He's kind of the underdog in a way.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say he's a hero. He gets to a point. I gotta be careful. I don't want to give too much away.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Um, it is very challenging to build your characters because as readers, we want to have a connection with all these characters, even with the bad guys and the good guys, and with his daughter and his marriage. And so, yeah, I tried to draw on a lot of experiences, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And there were sometimes you just have to go back to the drawing book, and
Yeah.
so once you put your book out there for the world to enjoy it, you can go back.
Yeah.
So do it right, have other people read it and be open to criticism because maybe you can just tweak it a little bit more to just give it just a little bit more to those characters. And yeah, it was a challenge sometimes, definitely.
I hear that. You said with the book, God bless you at 9 times. Okay, but you got it done. Definitely very proud of you. And on to speaking of which, congratulations on winning the Literary Titan Award. And for
Thank you.
those of you who don't know what the Literary Titan Award is, it's a monthly award for fiction and nonfiction that honor outstanding storytelling and creativity for authors. But how did you feel about winning that award?
Well, the book so far has won 7 awards, and it's been it's almost been it feels like it's not true.
Right.
It's weird to say. Um, I'm an immigrant myself. I'm from
Uh-huh.
Europe, Belgium, and so I never had any formal training in writing. So obviously, I had to learn English. I think I've mastered it a little bit by now.
Oh my.
But
Okay.
the way we write, English and literature is so much different than Dutch.
Mhm.
And so I once wrote a short story and I gave it to a professor at UCLA, and he told me, you should waste your time on this. This is not for you. It's very hard for immigrants or people from another culture to write in our language, and yeah, it's just not good. And so
Right.
I was very, very disappointed, but I didn't let that stop me. I just felt I had to write this book, and it was more of it was an endeavor, it was a challenge, and so
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many books on writing that I've read, how many classes I have taken. I now in my profession I write professionally,
Congratulations.
so I really had to. So winning an award for my book that I wrote that I've feeling that you always feel like what they call it imposter syndrome, and a lot
Right.
of us will feel that we're just not good enough to be recognized by an award. The first
Right.
one was, oh well, okay, maybe, but then it's won another award, and then it won Best Horror in the Pacific Book Awards, and it won a few other things. And I'm like, whoa, people are really liking my book, and I hear it from people who have read the book, and it's just it, it's kind of a validation
Yeah.
where like, wow. I did write a good book, so it really means a lot. And yeah, for some people, it might just be an award, but to me, it really means a lot more than it's not just an award. And I'm very proud and honored, and
Right.
I'm very humbled by it. So I really appreciate it.
No, Ingrid, I'm glad you didn't listen to him when he mentioned, because you said when he said you were an immigrant, this was going to be read, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm really glad you did not listen to him. I'm sure
Yeah.
you had your doubts, I'm sure. But yeah, on a serious note, um, definitely be proud of yourself because you took that chance. And whether you won the awards, the 7 awards or not, you just entering it or just getting nominated is just, like I said, a win itself. But congratulations again, regardless. So absolutely. But in speaking of the awards, what about the Bram Stoker? How do you feel about that entering your book for that awards?
Well, I mean, anybody who writes a novel or a book or a short story or poetry can submit their work for the Bram Stoker Award. So at this point, I'm
Hmm.
not a nominee. I'm not on any list. I'm just offering my work to other Horror Writers Association members, like, hey, please read my book. I'd like you to see stuff. I think I got something cool. Give me a chance, please. I remember as a young child, even that the Bram Stoker Award, I always would follow it. I would follow who the authors were, the people who
Right.
win awards. And so to me, it is, I call it the Oscars of the horror books because sure, there's some other awards, but to me, the Bram Stoker Award is the highest thing you can do. And it would validate being a writer, being taken serious by peers, because unlike some other awards where you just enter your work and then it gets evaluated by other people, you don't know who or what. The HWA has a really rigorous process where other writers need to say, hey, we want this book to be on your list. And then they go through it, and then you come onto the short list, and then another selection gets made, and another selection gets made, and then you get to the jury. So I have no illusions that I'm going to win. Obviously,
Hmm.
I want to, but there's hundreds of people who also want to win. But just being nominated by peers for
That's right.
such a prestigious organization and an award, that alone to me is a huge, huge win because I have been reading a lot of the stories that are being submitted for everybody,
That's
and
right.
there's a
Mhm.
lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of great authors on it, and that's amazing because the art of literature is slowly disappearing. That's what I fear.
Right.
Uh, so few people still read. So yeah, the Bram Stoker Award would be a really big dream come true. But well, fingers crossed, and who knows?
Absolutely, man. But still, you, like I said, you're taking a chance. I know it's a lot of heavy competition, especially with that as the highest award, one of the respected awards in the horror dark fantasy genre. So definitely kudos and good luck to you, absolutely, for that. But it's definitely good that you submitted. But yeah, I know you mentioned with Diablo Canyon that you with your dream, but really I like to ask all of my guests, especially with the authors coming on the show, what inspired you to become a writer? Did something or someone lit a fire under your ass to bring out the passion as a writer?
And the answer is going to be no, not really. I never thought I would write, so that dream really was it. I mean, I truly enjoyed reading. I didn't start reading till my early 20s.
Okay.
Um, in Belgium, the schools weren't really a big motivator for me, and reading was more of an assignment that you had to do. The authors that we were required to read were boring. And so when I was in the military, I was deployed in Yugoslavia at the time, and the American military was leaving. And this wasn't the time before the internet,
Hmm.
before smartphones and anything. And I was so bored. I was just going crazy. And as they were leaving little things behind, like, here, we're leaving. This is for you. Take it or leave it. And there was a book there, and it was from Patricia Cornwell,
Hmm.
Cruel and Unusual. And I'm like, okay, I
Okay.
guess. It was so bad that I finally picked up a book. And I picked it up, and I kid you not, from the first page, it grabbed me. I was in her world. I was part of the story. Finished it in 2 days. I had to wait until it was my turn to make a phone call home, and
Okay.
I called my parents and said, go to the bookstore, find anything from Patricia Cornwell, find anything from Stephen King, from anything from Dean Koontz, and anything with horror. Just find
Right.
anything. And
Right.
so it was deployed for a long time. And so about 3 weeks later, there was a package filled with Red Bull, and there was a box filled with books. I think there were like 15 or so books in there.
Right.
And I just devoured them.
Oh.
And I had the book. So it was like read. And I never thought that I could write. And I remember in Stephen King's book on writing, he says, and so many other books on writing,
Yeah.
to be a good writer, you need to read a lot. And
Right.
so now I've read the old masters, from Mary Shelley, from Bram Stoker, from Poe, from Lovecraft, Hemingway. I read anything. If I can get it, I will read it. And I think I got over 600 books easily. Not even talking about all the digital books that I have. And so when I started writing Diablo Canyon, it kind of became like therapy.
Hmm.
And it is such a beautiful thing. It's almost like an out of body experience where when I get in my reading mode, it's like 3, 4, 8 hours. I'm just completely somewhere else. It's almost like out of body
Right.
experiences. And I am with the characters and I feel their pain and I experience the horror and it's almost like a natural high and it just feels freaking good.
Uh-huh.
So I was just typing and typing and it's become like a form of therapy. And so now I'm almost always writing something, be it a short story, and I've many short stories. I wrote a little novella. I'm writing 2 or 3 other books. So
Nice.
I don't know. It's just fun to be somewhere else where the world doesn't exist. And I just love
Exactly, like an escape, like a sweet escape. I know exactly what you
it.
mean. That's exactly what it feels like, man. And when you
Yes.
mentioned Stephen King, and he's so right that we, as writers, we need to read. But you'd be amazed that some writers feel like I don't have time to read, or I don't want to read. I'm afraid I'm gonna take somebody else's idea, or I won't be all the excuses in the world. But we need books just like our bodies need water. We have to read. That's just second nature. And I
Yeah.
love reading in general. So yeah.
And I've heard all of those too, like, I'm
Right.
writing something I can't be reading, or every, I mean, I write three, not write, I mean, I read 3 or 4 books at the same time, and I'll read fantasy, and I'll read horror, and I'll read
Right.
thriller, and I'll read a technical manual. So I'll read anything. I just don't care. And I think also because I constantly have that, still a little bit of that imposter feeling that
Right.
always want to be better at my craft. I always want to know more about certain things. So hoping that that translated me crafting a better story for the reader.
Yeah. I I mean I agree. Yeah, we have to. We don't have to, but no, scratch that. We have to. And when we're reading, especially for me, and sometimes I don't know if you have this problem, Chris, but when I'm reading, sometimes I'm like looking at the punctuation and grammar is like, oh
Oh
God,
my God.
can I? That's
I'm
what I'm
like,
saying. Can I just enjoy the fucking story without me doing
yeah,
that? It's like such a habit. But
it's
besides
so bad.
that, I know,
It's
right?
so bad. I do it
Same
all the time.
here.
And they
Yeah.
say the first thing is you got to vomit on the page. You just got to let it rip and let it go and spill it out on the page and then go back. But I can do it. And I'll
Right.
say this because I write pretty slow
Hmm.
because of I still have the little bit of, because of English not being my native tongue.
That's right.
I go over every sentence. I type it. I read it. I speak it out loud.
Yeah.
I can do better. And I'm like sitting there, like I'll be like focusing for 15 minutes on the word. And
Yeah.
like you said, like a comma, a period.
Yes.
Ever like maybe I'll cut this in two sentences, maybe an exclamation mark. I don't know. And you're just sitting and you're wasting so much time.
Right.
Get it.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm just a beginner. I haven't written that much, and I hope that as you write more and become more experienced, that you kind of can ignore that and you can just go full blown on finishing the story. What I do for my process, how it works, this is weird. I will see an object. Doesn't matter what it is. I will see an object and
Okay.
it's like a grenade explodes in my head. It's like a flash and
Yeah.
the entire story flash before my eyes. And what I'll do is I'll do it on my phone, or I'll leave myself a message, or I'll start scratching it on a scribble it on a piece of paper, and I'll outline the entire story so I don't lose it.
Okay. Right.
So
Okay.
I know some authors that just start writing and they go with the process, and
Right.
then they forget where they wanted to go because they're so focused on the punctuation and sentence structure.
Yes.
But because I get that flash and I see it all at once and I capture it, I don't really worry about it that I will
Okay.
lose it because I've had it and I've captured it somewhere.
Okay.
It's crazy that we do that, but we're like, I don't know, we're tortured souls, let's say it that way.
Seriously, man, I know I keep, and it has, especially with me, it's like we gotta take off, especially me, take off the editing hat. Just take it off. Like you said, a vomit draft, or hell, let the water come out of the faucet. Just let it run. Whether it's
Yeah,
a dialogue, sentence,
yeah,
if you have to do some sketches or a number, a letter or something, anything that comes to your mind with the story you're working on, just write or draw the shit down. So,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. And regarding back to the reading situation, is that besides the grammar and the punctuation, it's just that you can see that its possibilities are endless when you're reading, and how you see that, like you said, we escape to a world where anything's possible. Like we can create this, or wow, this is, even though quote unquote it's not real, but we can, it's be amazed what we can create when we open our minds and our imaginations as well as writers. So
right.
yeah, absolutely. Um, no, Chris, so do you have any tips or pointers for those who want to start writing but are scared or have writer's block, or just advice in general?
I would say the main thing is screw what other people say. Obviously, in my case, screw what other people say. I think as a young child, from the moment we're a child until we become an adult, we're being filled with doubt. Oh, you shouldn't focus on that, or just be normal. Why can't you act like the other kids?
Yeah.
No, don't be like the other kids. Listen to your own voice. Be yourself. And if you want to write, hey, maybe it's not good. The first things that we write often are not good. But there's a thing where like if you don't make mistakes, then you can never get good.
Yeah.
Every person who is at the top of their craft, be it an actor, a musician, an athlete, they went through a lot of failure to get where they are now. So every failure you have is a step closer to success. And don't ever let anybody stop you or hold you down or saying that you're not good enough. There's always an excuse. Life is too short. If you enjoy writing, even if it's for one person, that's all that matters. And if just one person says, "Man, I enjoyed your story," to me that's all I can wish for. That one person is the most important person in the world. I will never let anybody stop me, and you shouldn't let anybody ever stop you because if I can do it, oh my God, anybody can do it. You just have to believe in yourself and never give up. And I hope that's great advice. I hope so.
Absolutely. Yeah, Chris, thank you. Absolutely. So, guys, and Chris, I do want to thank you again for coming on, taking the time. Thank you very much for talking with me. Guys, so check out his newest book, Diablo Canyon. It is on Amazon and definitely purchase it. Ebook, is it hardcover, paperback? Check it out. And I will see you guys next time on my loft. Chris, did you have any other last words, any hurrahs before we?
You know, I want to thank you for
Oh,
reaching
thank
out to
you.
me. I want to thank you for reading my book, and you know, it really means a lot that anybody is interested in my work. And to all of you out there, support your community, support your indie authors, support all those beautiful, amazing people like Al here who do so much for indie author. We don't have a big corporate machine behind us.
Mm.
It's all extra. None of us make this is not our day job. We
Yeah,
depend on you all by liking and clicking and sharing and spreading the word, and it means the world. And you know, don't ever give up. And I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
absolutely, Chris. Thank you. And thank you guys. And you guys all have a good night. And I will see you next time.
Bye.